as a leader, when we have bad news to deliver, when something is happening within the organization, a decision has been made, and now we need to implement that decision. And by bad news, it means the frontline people are going to be impacted in a negative way. They might have to work harder, longer hours. They might have additional stress placed upon them. We're delivering bad news. When it's time to have that meeting, one of the fundamental things that's often lacking in those meetings is time to process. The leader just wants to get through the meeting. They want to be able to say, this is the change. This is why it's good, why we're having this change, and this is how we're moving forward. And then we adjourn the meeting and we hope everyone's on board. And yet, because individuals have not had the time to process the suck of what's about to happen, they step away and they start to vent to each other and they start to ruminate in it. And that can get them stuck in a cycle of all of the problems, of the issues, of the fact that the leader doesn't care, of that they're already burnt out. They're stuck in the cycle, and so they can't get on board. To rectify that situation, the meeting itself needs to encompass the processing time. Tell them what's happening. Tell them what's changing. Tell them even why it's changing, the benefits, how the decision came about, and then give time for them to talk about why it's going to suck, what about it is going to be difficult, how it feels unfair. Let them talk about these things, share their initial feelings and reactions. Now, as a leader, you could allow that to go on and on and on and on, but we all know that is not going to be beneficial. So when do we stop that? We stop it when the individuals in the space start to revisit things we've already said are going to suck. That's when we know everything's already been out. We've got all of the expressions on the table. That is the perfect time to intervene and have a 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute break in which you want people to stay logged into the meeting, cameras off if we happen to be virtual, muted if we happen to be virtual, and step away from the meeting for whatever length of time you're giving them in order for them to process. Encourage them to get something to drink or eat, encourage them to go outside, encourage them to process and vent on their own, write things down in a journal, talk to their spouse, call up their best friend, encourage them to get it out, but also let them know when we return to the meeting, we're going to start to look at solutions, how we band together as a team, how we're going to individually take care of ourselves as our stress level and workload goes up. Solutions, how we're going to move forward. And then when we reconvene, that's where we start. An even more powerful step in there is to ask someone from the team that is your optimistic and objective and influencer to share first. Give them the heads up on that 30-minute break between talking about the suck and moving forward. Call up that player on your team and say, hey, look, I know you're an influencer. I know that people look up to you. I also know that you have great solutions for how we move forward when we are under the gun. When we come back, I want you to start. Would you please start and share your ideas? That's how we utilize our team members and their attributes and their skills for influencing each other. I mean, after all, as a team, that's what we're always leaning on. We're leaning on each other's strengths. So when we're in something that's really challenging, if I don't happen to be someone who comes along quickly, by having a peer of mine say, hey, it's going to be okay, I'm going to be able to move faster. I'm going to be able to do that. That is how we operate as a highly dynamic team. That is our trust and psychological safety coming forward and lifting us up all together. We do this for each other. That is how we can have really productive meetings when the suck is about to happen, when a difficult decision is being made and we have to communicate it. That's how we give the space for emotions to be expressed and processed so that we can turn our intellect back on, our executive functions, our creativity, our motivation, and start thinking about how we move forward.